So Epic, the blockchain protocol, what we currently call Epic Cash, the coin that's currently with a 13 million supply that trades for about $2, has no governance. And the reason for that is because it's a weakness. As a proof of work protocol, it's up to the miners to govern. They will decide what software they run. Other people can run nodes, but basically mining is the heart of the network. And so governance of the Epic blockchain protocol itself is purely up to the community consensus of will enforced at the miner level. And there is no way to drive that from some centralized source. It has to be us as a community coming together and deciding that we're going to unify around a particular technology vision. And what animates that vision is our desire for certain functional properties. We said we have to design for these things. Censorship resistance, confiscation resistance, permissionlessness, trust minimization, all these different things. And out of that, those design considerations ended up showing us the way of what to do, and that made it easy to know what to build. Our model is to go take open source tech that's proven off the shelf, and that enables us to de-risk the implementation of these technologies. You know, we let them mature a bit, and if they're going to blow up, they probably do fairly early. And if 6 people are using them and it's safe and it's been audited and all this, then we can safely work with it. So I would say that our approach to governance is to know that nobody has figured out governance yet, but we're making best efforts to try. And so we've done a study of other governance models. The foundation model of Ethereum had some problems with the centralization and the people and the board and stuff like that. Cardano, I think, had some friction there as well, if I recall. Tezos. When there's a big pot of money, sometimes bad things happen, and even if they don't, you have the regulatory risk of it being called a security, and so we need to be very careful for that. So 2 years after Epic has launched, we launched the governance token on July 4th, Independence Day 2021, called ECR. And ECR is our equity and governance participation token that we're giving out based on contributions to the people in our community that participate in making the project go. We're an all-volunteer community. We didn't raise any money. There's no company. There's no office. There's no budget. And we're all volunteers. And because we're volunteers, we're very passionate, and we also have skin in the game. So with Dash, as an example, you have master nodes. And if you have 1,000 Dash, then you can participate in governance, and you can get a greater share of the economic rewards and so on. And so we've got an asset in our design plan called ECRG that represents an income stream of participation in some of the success of what we're doing. Like, I think, what was the name of the hedge fund that Dash set up in the Caymans? The Dash Foundation. Okay, so Dash Foundation. Thank you for that. Yeah, thank you for that. We've thought a lot about how to safely monetize and commercialize and reward our participants, and we came up with also a no ICO, no pre-mine structure. In the case of ECRG, it's modeled on Dash with a master nodes and governance treasury type system, but even that isn't enough. It's a solution for a lot of the needs, but there's other cases of needs that some of the DeFi protocols like Compound and some of the other farming and staking and other stuff like that, we want to opt into what they're doing. So by plugging into the smart contract landscape over on particularly Avalanche and Phantom, and looking at the history of Dash and Decred, and I'm trying to think of other smart cash. You know, there's been all kinds of experiments that we've studied, and we've seen what can go wrong, what can go right. And so big picture, we've given ourselves until the singularity, which is about 6.5 years from now, to really figure out governance. And in that time, we have a strong, cohesive community. We have consensus on the properties and what we're trying to do. You know, we studied the history of, for example, Bitcoin Core versus Bitcoin SV versus Bitcoin Cash, and now ABC and 123. And, you know, like, we don't want that. And so we did a lot of thinking up front about how to design a solid structure that would stay strong and unified as we grow. Because Ethereum, as an example, in choosing to go to proof of stake, kind of reinforces that it really is a security because it's management and control by a group of people who just happen to have raised money in a securities sale, but then the fact that the mining was sufficiently decentralized, they said now it's not a security. Now they're talking about it is a security again by going back to proof of stake. And so however you feel on that, the fact that it might be means it's a question mark, and in our proof of work network we don't have that. And so the point I'm trying to make is that these are very important issues that in many cases involve considerable uncertainty about the future and how the landscape is going to be. And so we've designed defensively to give us flexibility and optionality in the type of structure that we'll need to really handle a lot of growth. We don't want to top out at $1 billion. We don't want to top out at 10 billion or 100 billion or any number. We want to always designed for that next 10x of scalability. And if we do that, I think that the scalability of Mimblewimble, coupled with a solid long-term approach to governance and ecosystem development, a lot of that comes down to regulatory compatibility, establishes us to be, if not a leader, then certainly a survivor, because we've managed to avoid a lot of the pitfalls that other projects have. And so I think increasingly investors will place a premium on that, and the fact that we're building a track record 2.5 years in. You know, we've earned the right to be trusted a tiny little bit because we've proven so far through our actions that we're worthy of a little bit of trust so far.